Okay, so this is lesson 20. We're writing and solving inequalities in one variable. So for 20.1, we have math talk. This is the supplement. So we're just going to solve these inequalities. So what values of x would make this inequality true? What does x need to be less than?
10.
It needs to be less than 10. But what are we multiplying x by?
1.
We're multiplying x by 1?
5.
5. So what times 5 gives me 10? 2. So any value of x that is less than 2 will make this inequality true.
Negative
1.
Okay.
0.
What about the next one? What values of x would make 10 greater than the right side?
1.
1. So if we were to add 2 to both sides, we would get 12 is greater than 6x. It's a little easier to see now, right? What does x need to be? X needs to be
1 and below.
2. If we divide this by 2, or sorry, 6. Okay. Well, I'm showing you how to do it. Okay? All right, what about this next one?
What did we just do there?
So we just solved it. Instead of doing it mentally, I'm just showing you how to do it. So we added the 2 to both sides. Like we can pretend like this is an equal sign. And just like, you know how you draw the line through it?
Yeah.
You just solve for the x. So if you add 2 to both sides, you get 12. And you get rid of the 2 on the right. Then you have 6x. And I accidentally wrote 2 instead of dividing by 6 because sometimes I do that and get ahead of myself. So divide by 6 on both sides and get 2 is what our x needs to be. That would be what would make our equation equal. But we need x to be less than 2. Okay? Does that make sense?
A little bit, yeah.
Does that, okay. Let me clean this up just a little bit because that's going to drive me crazy. All right, can we go to the next column now? Okay, it needs to be, okay, wait, what did you say? 9. So let's see here. So right now, 9 is greater than negative 18, correct?
Yeah.
So what do we need x to be? To be equal to negative 18?
-18.
What? Negative 2. So x needs to be less than negative 2. So let me go over to the side here.
Wait, so are they all 2?
I don't know. We're going to see. If we divide by 9 on both sides, we will get x is less than negative 2. So for this inequality to be true, I need a negative number that is smaller than negative 2. So somebody give me a number that's less than negative 2.
-3.
-3. That would work. So what's 9 times negative 3?
27.
Negative 27. Is negative 27 less than negative 18?
Yep.
Yeah, it is. All right, next one. What do we do here? How do we solve for x? I would start with the 46 minus 2.
Distributive property? 44.
So you can either use distributive property. So you can distribute this 11 to everything inside. Or you can go ahead and divide by 11. I would prefer to divide by 11 because I think that's easier, so I don't have to divide later. Because I can see that I have 44 on the other side. What's 44 divided by 11?
4.
4. I know that's easy, right? Can you see that that's pretty easy? So then we have x minus 3 is less than 4. Now what do I do?
Plus 3.
Add 3. Yes, add 3 to both sides. So x is less than what?
1.
7.
Oh, I thought you
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and show you that you can do the distributive property as well as doing the division, okay? So I'm going to show you can do both ways and get the same answer, okay? So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to do 11 times x minus 3 is less than 44. We're going to distribute our 11. So we get 11x minus, what's 11 times 3?
33.
It's less than 44. Now what do I do to solve for x?
You subtract 33.
Do I subtract
You
it?
add 33.
I add it. All right, so I drop down my 11x, and I get, what's 44 plus 33?
77.
77. Now I'm going to do what?
Divided by 11.
X is less than what?
7.
Did we get the same answer?
Yes.
Yes. So you can choose whichever method you want to do to solve for this. This is just like whenever we have an equation that has an equal sign. Same processes, everything. The only difference is you have that sign in there. Okay? You have a greater than or a less than, sign. Okay, so I'm going to erase that because we did division there. Does anybody have questions so far on this? We good? All right. Now we're going to check inequalities. So we're doing the same thing we just did. We have negative 2x is less than 4. How do I solve the inequality?
Add 4.
Do what?
You divide
Yeah.
by negative 2.
Divide by negative 2.
Do we always have to do the long equation to get the answer?
Okay. So then you will get x is less than what?
2.
2.
Negative 2. All right. So we're going to check our answer using a value that makes your solution true. So somebody pick a number for x that is less than negative 2.
Negative 5.
Negative 5. So if we say negative 2 times negative 5 is less than 4. What's negative 2 times negative 5?
10. Negative 10. Or no, positive 10?
Is 10 less than 4?
Yeah. No.
No. What did we forget to do?
Carry down the sign.
Flip the signs. When we divide by a negative, you have to flip the sign. So, somebody pick a value for x that is greater than negative 2.
6.
6. So, if negative 2 times 6 is less than 4, what's negative 2 times 6? What's 2 times 6? 12. Negative 12. Is negative 12 less than 4? Yes, that's true. This is false.
Where did you get negative 5?
Negative 5 was a number that they gave me earlier.
Oh, so you can just like pick any number.
We just pick any number. So you can, because it's on the number line. Remember how we looked at number lines yesterday or the day before?
Yeah.
So on that number line, anything that's less than the value we got or greater than the value we got, as long as it is not, like if you don't have an equal sign under the line, like under the greater than or less than sign, if it doesn't have or equal to, then it can't be that number. But it can be any number on either side, depending on which way we're going. All right, number 2. We have 3x plus 5 is greater than 6x minus 4. What do I do to solve this one? Which side has the coefficient on the x that is less? The left or the right?
3x.
The 3x. The 3x is the less. So move the one that is less so that you don't have to worry about flipping your sign. Does that make sense?
No.
If you move the one that has a coefficient that is less, you will not have a negative, so you will not have to flip your sign.
Where are we going to move it to?
The other side, we're going to subtract 3x from both sides. Okay? So what's 6x minus 3x?
3x.
It's 3x. We're going to drop down our minus 4 and drop down our 5 and our sign. Now we're going to, what do I need to do to isolate my x now?
Minus 4.
Do I minus it?
Plus 4.
Plus 4. Okay. What is 5 plus 4?
9.
Drop down my greater than sign and drop down my 3x. What do I do to solve for x now?
Divide by 3.
Divide by 3. So
We get 3.
x is, okay, so 3 is greater than x. So somebody pick a value for x.
2.
So if we plug in a 2, so we're going to plug it into the original equation from up here. So we're going to do 3 times 2 plus 5 is greater than 6 times 2 minus 4. What is 3 times 2?
6.
It's 6. Drop down your plus 5. What's 6 times 2? 12. What is 6 plus 5?
11.
Okay, 11. Drop down your greater than. 12 minus 4, what is that?
12 minus 4 is 8.
Is 11 greater than 8? Yes, this is true. Okay, so we got the inequality, we solved the inequality correctly. Does anybody have questions right now?
Yeah. So what if you go through only one right answer for x?
So in these cases, yes. So we aren't going to get to piecewise functions and stuff like that this year. But there are different ways that we can solve for x and to where it's going to have different values. So it just really depends. But in this case, and what we're going to see in this unit, x will typically have one value. Because we are just doing linear equations. Right now, we're doing one variable. So the one variable has one answer. Okay? Whenever we get into quadratics, there will be more than one. But you won't get into quadratics until next year. Okay? All right. Let's see here. Do we want to go ahead and do number 3, or do we want to go to the next section? Next section? We can skip one. But what would you do before you flip? What would you do to solve for this equation?
Distributive property.
Distributive property, yes. I would do distributive property because 13 does not divide evenly by 3. Right? Can you see that? Okay. Let's go to the next one. You would do the same thing as we did over there. All right. Let's see. All right, we're going to skip. Oh, no, we're not. I take that back. This one's real easy. We're going to do this. Okay, for each statement, use the number line to show which values satisfy the inequality. Express the statement symbolically with an inequality. The elevator can lift up to 1,200 pounds, Let X represent the weight being lifted by the elevator. So, what do you think that's going to look like on this graph? Can the elevator lift 1,200 pounds? Yes. So is my dot going to be hollow or filled? On the graph is...
I don't know what you mean by that.
Okay.
Hollow is less than or greater than.
Right.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Okay, so let's write this at the top of our papers. So a hollow circle is going to be greater than or less than. A solid circle, what is that one going to be? Greater than or equal to, or what?
Less than or equal to.
Less than or equal to. So it is going to be solid if it's greater than or equal to. Hollow if it is just greater than or less than. Okay? All right, so if I put a solid circle right here and say 1,200 pounds is right here. So we say the elevator can lift 1,200 pounds. Over here, let's say we have 2,000 pounds. And over here, we're going to have, let's say, 700 pounds. Is my arrow going to go to the left or to the right?
Be loud.
Why is it going to go to the left?
Because it can lift up to 1,200 pounds.
Okay.
No more.
So it can lift up to 1,200 pounds. It can't do more, so we want it to be less than. So what would my equation look like for X?
X is less than 1,200.
Okay, it's going to be less than or equal to 12,000. Okay? Does everybody see that and understand what we just did? Okay? Let's see here. Over the course of the senator's term, her approval rating was always around 53%, ranging above or below that value. Represent the senator's approval rating. So, what do you think that would look like? So if I put 53% right here, and let's say here is 50%, and here is 56%. Here we're going to have two equations. Because her approval rating is always around 53%. It's only ranging 3% above or 3% below. So does that include the 3% above? Okay, so we're going to put a solid dot at 56%. What about the lower end? Does it include the lower 3%? Yeah. And these, I didn't count these out. They should be equidistant, so an equal distance from the 53. If they're not, I'm sorry, but they should be. Our graph should include all of this.
Oh, because the range is from that much.
Right. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to say X is less than or equal to 56%. And X is greater than or equal to 50%. It's got to be between those two. Another way we could write this would be 50% is less than or equal to X, which is less than or equal to 56%. Have you guys seen anything written out like this before? Okay. So if I took out the percentages, you probably would have seen something like this before. Okay? So that tells me that X is going to be between 50 and 56%, including the 50 and the 56%. Okay? All right. 20.3. We have Andre and Priya. They're using different strategies to solve the following inequality but reach the same solution. So, we have this inequality right here. We have 2 times the quantity of 2x plus 1.5 is less than 18 minus x. So, here's what we're going to do. We're going to say right here, what did Andre do between these two equations? Distributed the 2. Okay, what did he do from here to here? What changed?
He added the 18 to the 3.
Did he add it?
No, he subtracted it.
He subtracted it. Subtracted 18. Okay, what did he do from here to here?
Minus 4x.
So, yes, he subtracted 4x. What did he do from here to here? Okay. Notice how he took this inequality. Again, both Andre and Priya did this. They went from an inequality and just changed it to an equal sign. You can also do that. Okay? So we know that x equals 3. Then to test if x equals 4, he plugged it into the original inequality. So down here, he's just plugging in 4. So plugged in the 4 here, times it by the 2, and plugged in the 4 here. So, and then he solved. And he got 17 is less than 14. Is that a true or false statement? It's a false statement. So the inequality is false, so 4 is not a solution for this inequality. If a number greater than 3 is not a solution, the solution must be less than 3, or 3 is greater than x. Okay, so now let's look at what Priya did. Okay, so looking at Priya, what did she do from here to here? Distributed. So she started with the same step, right? So she distributed the 2. What'd she do from here to here? She added x. Okay, what'd she do from here to here?
Added 13. Added 3 to 18.
Did she add it?
No.
She subtracted it. Okay, and last up, what'd she do?
Divided by 5.
Divided by 5. All right, so then she used some logic and reasoning here. In 4x plus 3 equals 18 minus x, there is a 4x on the left and a negative x on the right. If x is a negative number, 4x plus 3 could be positive or negative, but 18 minus x will always be positive. So, for 4x plus 3 is less than 18 minus x to be true, x must include negative numbers or x must be less than 3. So they got to the same conclusion using different methods. Personally, I prefer plugging a number in because it gives you a straightforward answer. You can see it. I understand what she's doing on the right. If that works for you, then by all means use it. But make sure you can explain why you know that x is going to be less than 3. You need to be able to explain it. Either you need to explain it the way Priya has or a similar way, or you need to be able to say, I plugged in x equals 4 and 17 is not less than 14. Okay, let's go to the next page. Did you do A? No, just say it. So you should multiply both sides by 5. Multiply by the reciprocal. So you do 5 over 1 or multiply by 5 on both sides. So P is less than what? There's no x there. What's 5 times 10? 50. You keep the negative. So P is greater than 50.
That made no sense. No, you're dumb too.
Okay, what do we do for B? There's 2 options for the first step. What'd you do?
I have a question.
I can't hear you.
Yeah.
I told you I'm fogging.
Okay, so first step here, guys. First step here is either to distribute or divide. So if you distribute 4 on both sides. What's 4 times x?
4x.
What's 4 times 7?
28.
What is 4 times 2x?
8x.
What's 4 times 8?
32.
All right, now we are going to subtract 4x from both sides.
Oh, that is not divided. No.
Okay, drop down everything else. So 28 is less than or equal to 4x plus 32. Then subtract 32 from both sides. So 4x is less than or equal to, what is 28 minus 32?
Negative 4.
-4. Divide by 4, and you get x is -1.
Oh, I was so close.
All right. The other option for solving this equation is to divide by 4 on both sides.
I got very lost. But I actually.
Okay, if you divide by 4 on both sides, that goes away. You get x plus 7 is less than or equal to. So then you will get 2x plus 8. I would subtract this way, so you don't have to flip your sign. Subtract your x's. You get 7 is less than or equal to x plus 8. Subtract 8. And get x is still -1. Same direction of the signs. Plug in to verify your signs. Make sure you do your practice problems, and we will try to get some of the stuff that we've left off finished toward the end of the week.